ahead and open your textbooks, please, to page 5. You're in your textbooks on page 5. Page 5. Section 1.1, describing patterns. Let's look at example 1. Okay, let's read along with me, please. It says you're a member of a summer movie club at your local movie theater. The club meets every Wednesday in July to watch a movie. If the first meeting is on July 6th, on what other dates in July will the club meet? Well, what do you think is a clue in there to help you figure out what the next meeting date is going to be? What do you think? What do you think? What's a clue? What's a clue? Yes.
Wednesday is 7 days.
Very good. So if it's every Wednesday, you know they're 7 days apart. So if they meet on July 6th, what's it going to be the next day they meet? The 13th. Very good. So our second meeting. So under example 1, you're going to need to write in your notes that the second meeting will be on July 13th. Now I want you to go ahead and fill in under example 1, fill in what the other dates in July would be that they meet. So when's the third meeting, the fourth meeting, and so on. All right, so when's going to be your third meeting? Just tell me, what's it going to be? Very good. Third meeting is on July 20th. When's going to be your fourth meeting?
July 27th.
Very good. Fourth meeting is on July 27th. Ugh. Meeting July 27th. And can you have any more meetings after that?
No.
Why?
Days.
Because there's only 31 days in July, and the next meeting date would be after that date. So that's it. All right, so we're following a pattern. Now, in examples 2 and 3, these are more along the lines of what you're going to see on a quiz or a test, but you see a number set. And there's 2 steps here. The first step is to figure out what the pattern is. So you look at these first 4 numbers and you ask yourself, how do I get from 2 to 7 and 7 to 12 and 12 to 17? There's an operation, and then you have to figure out by how much. So you're either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. If the numbers are going up in value, what operations does that eliminate?
Multiplication.
Eliminate. If they're going up, can you be subtracting? No. Or dividing? No. So it's either add or multiply. So how do I get from 2 to 7? I add by 5. Okay? So your pattern under example 2, so everybody in your notes, example 2, you're going to write the first 4 sets. You're going to copy this part down in your notes. Okay? The first 4 numbers in the set. And then underneath, you're going to write pattern or description, and you're going to write add by 5. Okay, the pattern or the description is to add by 5. And then in your notes, I want you to go ahead and fill in the next 3 numbers.
7, 32.
All right, very good. Next 3 numbers, 22, 27, and 32. All right, so example 3 is pretty much the same thing, except it's just going to be a different pattern. So the first thing I do is I try to figure out the pattern. How do I get from 2 to 6, 6 to 18, and 18 to 54? Well, in my first set of numbers, there's 2 ways that I could get from 2 to 6. I could add 4, but does adding by 4 work for the other numbers? No, it doesn't. So you need to make sure that you test whatever your theory is about the pattern. Make sure you test it on more than 2 numbers. So how else can I get from 2 to 6? Multiply by 3. Does that work for all the numbers? Yes, it does. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 3. So that's my pattern. All right, make sure you're writing this under your notes in example 3. Under example 3. Now that you know the pattern, I want you to fill in the next 3 numbers. All right, so what are the next 3 numbers, class?
166,
Very good, 1,458. All right, who got that? Raise your hand if you got it. Awesome, good job, okay? All right, so 2 steps. Find the pattern and then tell me what the next 3 numbers are. Now, a couple problems on your homework tonight are going to have to do with extending a visual pattern. So everybody with me, look at example 4 on page 6. Go ahead and turn the page to example 4 on page 6. Does everyone see the flowers? You see the flowers on the Hawaiian lei? Everybody see that under example 4? Yes? Yep. Okay, so we're going to look for the pattern on the flowers. We start with a what? What do we start with? A yellow carnation, and then 2 orchids, and then red carnation, and 2 orchids. And now, as soon as we see that yellow carnation, again, we know that we've captured that pattern, okay, that visual pattern set. Okay, so the yellow carnation starts it over. So if I'm following the same pattern, what 2 flowers would come after the red carnation? What do you think? Yes?
Yellow carnation and 2 orchids?
Not quite, yes. 2 orchids and a yellow carnation. Okay, so to answer this question, we found the pattern, and under example 4, I want you to write that the next flowers in the pattern would be 2 orchids and a yellow carnation. Okay, and that answers the question under example 4. Okay, we're asked to find the next flowers in the visual pattern. All right, so that covers the examples. I want to go back up to example 3. Do you guys see example 3? Do you see that blue block that says your turn now under example 3? Does everybody see that? The blue block that says your turn now? I want you to do numbers 1 and 2, okay? Write the original problem, and then I want you to tell me what is the pattern and what are the next 3 numbers. Okay, so go ahead and fill that in. So we're under your turn now. Number 1, what is the pattern and what is the next 3 numbers? Number 1, we have, what was the pattern? Anybody want to tell me what was the pattern? Yes, Ty. Yes, subtract by 4. And what were the next 3 numbers? What? Just tell me. That's fine. What are the next 3 numbers? 12, 8, and 4. Okay, and I want you to make sure that you box in those answers. On your classwork, it's not that big of a deal. On your homework, it is a big deal. All right, number 2, what's the pattern? Just tell me. What's the pattern? Divide by 2. Very good. So pattern is to divide by 2. And what are my next 3 numbers, class? 16, 8, and 4. Okay, raise your hand if you got both of those right. Did you get both right? Okay. Any questions? Any questions on it? Any questions? You're not really sure what you did wrong? So if you got one wrong, do you see what you did wrong? If you missed it, you see what you did? All right, number 3. Okay, I want you to go ahead and go down now to the bottom of that page, numbers 3 and 4. Now, on your homework tonight, and this goes for your classwork too, anytime you see these visual patterns or these icons, you don't have to copy down the original problem. What do the directions ask you to do? They ask you to describe the pattern. So tell me, what's happening here to each figure? What is different? What's going on? And then draw the next figure. Only one. What will the next figure be in that pattern? So go ahead and do numbers 3 and 4. Anybody think they know what the pattern is on number 3? What's happening to the shaded boxes? Jordan? Very good. The shaded boxes are rotating clockwise. Shaded boxes are rotating clockwise. All right, so the next figure, which part of the box is going to be shaded in? Just tell me. Bottom right. Very good. So bottom right. All right, on number 4, I'm going to have to go to the next page. On number 4, what's happening? We're adding what? We're adding one more row. One row to the previous image. All right, so how many dots are going to be in the bottom row of the next figure? How many? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it keeps going down. Then there's 4, then there's 3, then there's 2, then there's 1. And that's what it should look like. All right, so that kind of just wraps up classwork. Any questions before we move on? Anything? All right, go ahead and get out a blank sheet of paper. Blank sheet of paper. We're going to set up homework together. My hope is that we kind of get through this so that there's no questions and everybody's on the same page and nobody ends up losing points over not setting up their paper correctly. I'm writing the exact assignment that's on the whiteboard, 1.1, page 7, numbers 8 through 20 all. 8 through 20 all. Okay, right there on that top line, guys. Right there on the top line. Make sure you're on the correct side of the paper. All right, 1.1, page 7, numbers 8 through 20 all. Now, I prefer that you do not work in columns, okay? So don't try to squish everything on, like 2 or 3 columns. It just makes it really difficult to grade. So what I want you to do is over on the left side, I want you to number your homework questions on the left side of the red line. Does that make sense? So you've got another red line over here going down, and your numbers go on the other side of that red line. Okay, so you're going to number 8. I don't have room to show you. I probably should have left a little more room. Okay, but number 8, okay, goes on the other side of that red line. Now, over here in the top right-hand corner, I want your name. That's your name, your first and last name. The class, and this class will be 7-3, 7th grade, 3rd hour, and then the date. Name, class, and date in the top right-hand corner. All right, and now you're good to go. Okay, so who wants to do a homework problem together? Anybody complain about that? Okay, so here's what I want, guys. And here, listen, this is why I'm doing it with you, because I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. On number 8, we're going to write the original problem. Okay, and the original problem is, and we'll just kind of squeeze it in over there, is going to be 1, 2, 4, and 8. And then we see some dots. Okay, underneath, I want you to write pattern, followed by a colon, and then tell me what the pattern is. Okay? Anybody see the pattern? 1, 2, 4, 8. What's going on with these numbers? Yes. Multiplying by 2. Very good. Multiply by 2. So you're going to tell me that's the pattern. And then you're going to say next 3. So the next 3 numbers, and what would the next 3 numbers be? Anybody? Terriel? Nope. No. Yes.
14.
Not quite. Not quite. You got the right idea. Yes.
16.
32. And 64. Okay? And you're going to box in your answers, guys. Box in your answers just makes it easier to grade. All right? And that's how you're going to set up your homework. And if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 1.1.